G'day and welcome back for more Survival Impossible. And let's take a look at the aftermath of my little recloning last week. First off, I was just about to get some food and water and then I realized I don't have any in here. So even if I made it in, I was dead. Where did I leave all the food and water? I didn't move it down to the other base already, did I? Don't remember doing that. Oh, it's in the main cargo for some reason. Definitely don't remember doing that. Oh, I must have accidentally had some on me and used Build Planner to dump it all into the cargo. That's probably what happened. So there's that. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what happened last week. Because it was a pretty big occasion for me since it was my first death. And I felt like, even though a few moments of stupid led to it, it was a pretty cool outcome. Jumping off the drone and somehow not dying as it made this dent in the ground, and coming so close to making it to the cargo was just kind of all the things I hoped for in my first death, I guess. That truly, something memorable. That's all I really wanted. I knew at some point I was going to do something and it was going to go sideways. So I didn't expect it to be a perfect run like Survival maybe, but oh man, that was pretty cool. And also miraculously, this has survived. It's lost all of its undercarriage and I'm going to need to take that inside and repair it, but I can't believe it's still here. Like, it's still completely usable. So I've just got to give it a few repairs. What I might do is repair that in a moment. What I first need to do is prevent that particular death from happening again. And there was a very easy way to prevent this. All I need to do is make sure that on every single vehicle I have a backup supply of food, water, and ideally oxygen. Oh, I should bring up that ammo too. Because apparently I lost a Gatling gun at some. Oh no, that was probably ammo that was in the connector. Yeah. What I'm thinking of doing in terms of adding that protection is adding an isolated small cargo container on every build that I can find a spot for that sort of thing on. For the absconder, I can probably just drop something straight in the cockpit because the absconder isn't going to be hooked up to cargo systems, so won't end up with that unintentionally drained. So step one, let's make some tools because I lost all my tools because it took me too long to get back, and so my backpack despawned. And I'm out of silicon. Dang it! Oh, and the goof, I know! Oh, that's not okay. The Goofy is out there with no wheels, so I'm going to have to mine by hand to get that silicon. Oh, that's not fair. Alright, make a basic drill. No, you require silicon too. Alright, let's break down something that contains silicon then. Oh wait, I have a basic drill. Never mind. Yeah. Apparently I have the enhanced grinder too. Don't need to make that. Let's get rid of that. Just need to make the welder and the drill. Okay. This... so much mess for me to clean up. So many mistakes. Oh man, stone mining by hand. Didn't think I'd be doing this anytime soon. Oh, I could probably, if I really, really needed to, I could probably go and get the, whatchamacallit, the launch air base to send some silicon down to me. Alright. Let's grab my tools that I just made, put them back on my hopper, and now it's almost like nothing happened, except when did I hurt myself those 4 points? Oh man, I'm going to be back at 70 hit points in no time. Right, so I've got to go and collect the Goofy, which is 3 kilometers away. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with this hole in the ground. And I need to put... Well, I need to start putting some more things in place for where I'm going to build this big hangar for all of the drones and the panini and that sort of stuff. So what I'm thinking I'd really like to do is build something a bit like one of those, I think they're called Quonset huts, sort of those arced shaped roofs, so like the rounded roof that just kind of comes out of the ground, and just do a big one of those for all of the drones, and then beside it have a bit of a landing platform for the panini, something that I can walk onto the panini and off it, because obviously I can't use any sort of jetpack to do that. And what that'll hopefully do is allow me to clear this stuff out of here finally, because I really want to get rid of this mess that's on the side of the building here, and come up with some more decorative mess to put there instead. Between this week and next week, I'm also going to do something that I've been wanting to do around here for a long time, which is I'm going to bring out the voxel hands and start shaping the snowdrifts, and I'm planning on doing that in a stream over on my Twitch channel. So once that's going to happen, I'll try and remember to put a notification up on my YouTube channel for those of you who would like to watch me play around in decorative mode. I gotta fix this drone. I kind of feel like today's going to be mostly cleanup duty from my mistakes. I think first off, I'm going to grab some water and some food, and just at least temporarily put some of it in most of the cockpits, since I don't really want to be building too many blocks right now until I can get over to the Goofy, repair it, and drop some, repair it and go and mine some silicon properly. Some of you may, oh, stretchy hands. Some of you may have noticed that the text on the HUD elements, like the GPS type HUD elements, is much smaller today than usual. That's because I've started playing in a higher resolution, and while the rest of the HUD scales, that doesn't. I'm hoping that won't cause too much of a problem, because there are some aspects of playing in higher resolution and recording in higher resolution, even though I still post in 1080p, that I quite like. The main one being, it's not uncommon for me to do zoom-ins. So what I mean by that is something will happen that's sort of in the corner of the shot, and I'll want to zoom in on it. And this way, I'm going to be able to do that without quality loss up to 4 times, which will be kind of nice. Especially when playing with Capac, because that's the most common time that I use those sorts of tricks in the edit, because I really like having that extra ability to get a bit closer. So hopefully it's worth it. And I don't know how often you guys really need to read those things. Let me know if it actually does cause any problems. I think if nothing else, it makes it feel a bit less cluttered too, which is kind of nice. Especially when I've got 2 strong unknown signals out there. So I need stuff for 6 5x5 small grid wheels. Okay, after finally setting up the crane, which I should have done last time, I can now get on the road, and I'm going to go nice and slowly, because I really don't want the crane to pop the wheels like the Goofy did. What I've been hearing recently is that there might be some strong clues as to why the wheels keep popping. The rumor that I've been hearing, and I don't know if this is true, but it certainly fits with the experiments that I did to try and determine what had been popping wheels, because my experiments had shown that it was something to do with a delayed loading of, or a delayed calculation of the physics in some way. So what I was experiencing was, the higher the load I put on my computer, the more common the wheel popping was. If I maxed all my settings and really pushed things to the limit, particularly with voxel handling, that increased the chance that I would pop my wheels. And what's been potentially discovered since is that it's something to do with the chunks of terrain. So even though the planets in Space Engineers aren't loaded in chunks like most people would think of if they've ever played Minecraft and heard about the way it handles it, there are still seams between sections. And so those seams, if you don't load the other side completely properly, create a small step, and that's apparently just enough of a step for the vehicle's wheels to be in the ground. And if the vehicle's wheels are in the ground, Space Engineers resolves this by blowing them up, or at least applying damage, and the damage that is applied with voxels to wheels is high enough that, well, they pop. And in my case, rather dramatically, being one of the proximate causes for my death. A few people in the comments did suggest that maybe it's not super fair for me to have died the first time to sort of a bug. But when you think about it, I had plenty of opportunity to equip all my vehicles with food and water, and I didn't do it. I should have done it, but I didn't do it. And so what I've ended up with is me dying because I didn't prepare for a bug that I knew was there. I knew it was a thing, and I shouldn't have been so complacent. So, in some ways, I'm just going to punish myself for my complacency and accept that this was my fault and I could have done something about it. And because I didn't, the death stands. Alright, here's where the wheel popping started happening. And here's the Goofy. That's right. Someone else made an observation which I think is quite accurate. So, one of the reasons the Goofy seems to have come out of this relatively unscathed might be these wheels, but he's probably more likely to be that piston right there. Because I don't seem to have copped much damage underneath. I think... Oh, actually... Did the Goofy have a line of armor blocks that ran down the middle? I can't remember if this one did. Oh, I took a bit of damage to the large cargo container, so yeah, maybe it did. Still, to have come away with no wheels, and this thing really just needing to have wheels added, it's really kind of cool. Before I start adding wheels to you, let's put your park brakes on. And I gotta put myself in a position where I can lift this thing up high enough to get the wheels on. Okay, next thing to do while I'm remembering it is lock this rotor down. So I don't want the whole back end spinning around when I lift up the front end and vice versa. Okay, let's see how my new controls work. I really think this crane is one of my coolest creations recently. So it looks the part. It's so nice for something in Space Engineers to actually look as robust as it's supposed to for the job that it's performing. And it's compact. Alright, let's try out the grabber controls. Okay, lock. And... Oh, forgot a step. But this shows how stable this crane is now. I haven't locked it to the ground yet. And despite trying to lift the Goofy just then, it didn't flip over on me. Is that thrush actually going to... No, I should be okay, I think. Right. I need to name those two landing gear on the front. Here. Because I did put two landing gear on the truck so that I could lock it to the ground when I'm using this crane. Oh, I did name it. And now that I'm locked to the ground, now I can lift this thing up. That looks like it should be high enough. Add a wheel. Add another wheel. I never expected to use the crane quite so much as an emergency vehicle like this. Like a roadside assistance vehicle. It didn't occur to me, but I am so glad it worked out this way. No, 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 why are you rolling down the hill? No! Don't do that! No, don't run into it. Oh, the tree stopped it. Okay, good. So now I should be able to lift this thing up, grab it by the battery, lift it up, add those 4 wheels, Then drive back home, then come down here maybe on the Canary, similar to how I got home. And that should, in theory, allow me to fly the Canary back home. If I add... I didn't bring an antenna. Should have brought an antenna to stick on this. Dang. I'll have to do that when I come down here on the Canary. So that I can... I'll have to bring the parts for an antenna when I come down here on the Canary so that I can add the antenna and fly the Canary home before I drive home. Or, I guess, I could just drive home and then pick up the Canary remotely from the base once I've got back to the relay there. If you're wondering why those wheels are turning, that's the subgrid wheel control script. It's not zeroed at the moment, so those wheels are all going to turn. I'll need to make sure I turn it off and turn off those wheels before I drop this back down to the ground. The Goofy should be back in business. Okay, I did put the handbrake on. Oh no, it took down a tree! Why, Goofy? Why you do this? Put your handbrakes on. Uh-oh. Can't get in. Collapse the crane, drive the crane home, come back for the Goofy. Mission success. Come on, go past without getting too close. Had enough troubles. Please, please, please. I suppose I could still get too close to Steve, though. Which is a problem. I keep seeing this flashing off to the left that I cannot figure out. It looks like a lens... It looks like a lens flare. Maybe I'll be able to catch the frame that it happens in the editing. Oh no. Okay, yep, it's unhappy. Let's get back into safety. And I still forgot to turn on the Goofy's guns! Can't see a drone coming in though. Maybe I'll get lucky? Looks like we've gotten away with it. That's good. And look down. Canary, where are you? Oh, no, wait. Badly damaged, are you? Batteries are still intact. That thruster's broken. Let's fix that before I go. Another lifting thruster's broken. Oh, wait. There were a lot more thrusters than that on that side. Yeah. I lost a few. Both these sideways thrusters working, yep. Alright, maybe I'll do a few of the repairs to this before I try and fly myself down there on it. I don't feel particularly excited about the prospect of dying again, so I might do a few things to avoid it. Still can't believe this managed to survive that crash. That's just ridiculous. And now antenna. Oh, good. I do have enough silicon. Alright. Let's go. I do love that Space Engineers lets you do stuff like this. And only a few more steps and it'll be like nothing ever happened. Except that you can see on my HUD that I've got more health than I usually do. Oh, stretchy, super stretchy up. Antenna. With a Goofy. Fly you home. This is working out so far. If only the Goofy can get home without losing more wheels, I'll be happy. And I can go out and collect some silicon, and then I can start actually doing some non-reparative things. So lucky I didn't hit that tree on my way in. So that easily could have happened. The one that I've been saving this whole time. One really disappointing thing about my crash of the Canary was that Steve was actually locked to the Canary that whole time. And I thought all along that I was going to get an epic view because Steve had kind of been following from the base's perspective, so I would have been jumping toward the camera, jumping off the Canary as I came in and smashed it into the ground. However, unfortunately, what happened was the tracking camera sometimes doesn't track objects properly. It loses track of them intermittently. And so what I saw, or rather heard, was the Canary crashing behind the camera. Because the camera had fallen behind the Canary, so it was following without the Canary even in view, which was so disappointing because I thought I would have such a cool looking view of me jumping clear. But no. I got nothing. Such disappointment. So yeah, for those of you wondering why I didn't show a second perspective of that, it's because I thought I had one, but I didn't. And it would have been pure luck that I'd caught it anyway, because I don't normally leave the tracking camera on a vehicle like that, but I was like, the view from the Canary is not a bad one of me walking into that base, so I'll just leave it. Sadly, it didn't quite work out. Alright, Goofy's back. So how to best fix this hole in the ground? I think maybe just sticking an interior wall block in the middle, having it have a little bit of a lip, and having snow-covered blocks that are off-angled. I know since I'm going to be using the voxel hands, I could fill this in fairly nicely, but I think, given what this hole represents, I kind of want to leave the hole intact. I want to leave it to be a thing to remember what happened here. As long as I fill it up enough that I can actually drive in and out of the hangar, it won't really matter. I guess the alternative option to leaving this as the steel plate, if I wanted to fill it in with the voxel hands, what I'd do is put like the alien dirt there, so that it's been filled in with dirt, but the snow was blown away from my crash. Either way, I definitely cannot hide that because it is too important. It's too important a memory. It's my reminder. Don't let yourself die of thirst. Cool. Canary needs repairs, and then I'm good to go. Oh no! Reaver! Reaver, Reaver, Reaver! Ah! Oh wait, no. Oh no! I haven't detached the Canary. I don't think I'm going to get there in time. Oop, that probably wasn't a great way to do that. No! What? What grid is this? Oh, that is a lot of missiles. Oh, they were hitting my thing. Holy, that's a big ship. Is it? I've never gone. Either way, it seems very focused on my Fort Capac, which is very lucky. I'll probably get up there with the Canary now. Thrasher is going down. Oh. That is a large grid ship. Where is it? Yeah, that's large. Oh. Wow. Yep. My defense has worked. How much is left of the Fort Capac? The turret's gone. Is my little freestanding Capac still there? It looks like he's still there. Yeah, he's still there. Look at him. Look at him go. What about the one that's in here? Oh, yeah, he's still standing. Even the power's still... Oh, I forgot to grind off my little ramp. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The Fort's Capac work. Oh, wait, no, this is the one that got... Oh, they both got smashed. This one got torn to shreds, though. Look at that. It worked a charm. I can't believe how well these things work. That is awesome. And they're close enough, through luck not planning, that the base was still able to provide extra fire support. Oh, yeah, yes. I wish I'd had the... Actually, I didn't need the Canary. but I do wish I'd had it ready to go. Super stoked with how that went. So the reason I was a little bit slow to respond there was that I wasn't actually in my office when that started coming in. I noticed it as I was walking back. The Reaver quite literally caught me on break. Just getting a quick snack. When I come back, there's this Reaver coming in. I hadn't got any oxygen in my suit. Anyway, Searchy's back on its thing now. It's getting charged. We've got a huge Reaver to go investigate. I might get a new rifle before I do that. Because although it wasn't shooting at me and my turrets have stopped shooting at it, I think taking that risk is not worth it. Might take Manny and maybe have a look at what equipment I'm going to need. Because I need to repair those Forts Capac now, because neither of them are functional properly at the moment. Repair them and maybe add some additional ones. Because they work. They properly worked. Just like the sandbags of old. They are awesome. Still got to deal with the mess from the last Reaver that attacked me. Haven't done anything with it yet. This one looks a little bit more exciting though. Oh, those craters. Oh, whoop. Park there. Let's have a look at this thing. Oh, that's a warhead. It's deactivated though. That could have been very messy if this thing had decided to crash on my base. Have we got anything reasonably intact? Or is... oh, a few metal grids. Not much. Really not much. 40 metal grids, nice. And a full... oh, fully intact NPC hydrogen thruster. So it looks like I'm going to be grinding this whole thing down. So I'm not using the NPC ones, but that's okay. Still... whoops. Still got an intact battery. Warhead's just got steel in it. Can't see any ammunition down here. I wonder if there are still some missiles left in this rocket launcher. Yeah, I should get some decent stuff out of this. Especially since that gyro looks like it's mostly intact. Sweet. Probably going to need to start grinding it down
full
before I re-equip this thing with a turret. Hi there, Mr. Capac decoy. I have to grind you down so I can replace you. Somehow the battery remained intact. For the amount of damage this saved my base from, the cost of replacing these things and rebuilding them each time something big and nasty like that comes in, totally worth it. It's a pity I have to grind most of this down. There probably are some bits I could save and use later, but with those thrusters being NPC only ones, that's probably not going to be a thing I can do. Something I need to do is create a little shopping list. Basically what I need to put into Manny so that I can build an entire Fort Capac. Because I think if I can do that, it'll make it much, much easier to build additional ones. So I can just load up with an exact list, including the extra plates that I need for building the scaffolding, that sort of thing. And I can just go out and I can build a few of them, because I'd really like to have a few more of them now that I know how effective those two were. At the very least, before I start doing any other projects, I'm going to get both of these up and running. Because they are important. And they just proved how much. I just want to get it down to a point where the blocks that might get shot, I've already collected the goodies from them. That's why I'm kind of grinding this down sooner than I might have otherwise done. Must not forget to turn that turret back on. I just switched it off so it won't shoot up the wreck so I can use up some of the stuff that's inside Manny. But if I forget to turn that back on, it's going to be annoying. I mean, this thing will still work as a decoy, it just won't have any teeth. And I much prefer this to have the ability to shoot back at something like that Reaver that came by. Because I reckon these did some meaningful damage to it. Yeah. Both turrets are up. I've just got to grind down enough of that thing that I feel safe to turn them back on. I did take damage on the base. Oh, I better go repair those. I still call what happened with the Reaver a victory, but yeah. Definitely a somewhat costly one. but could have been far, far worse. Oh, no rockets left. Drat. He shot them all at me. Really gotta be careful not to crush myself here. Or fall into the hole.
Inventory
And injure myself.
full.
That too. Oh no! Ooh! That was a little too close to my head. Ooh, that was close to my face again. Somewhat tempting to try and capture some of these batteries and just discharge their power into my base. But I might save that for a non-Reaver vessel that's not deep in a crater. Because that makes it hard.
Full.
There we go. All the big bits of the Reaver are gone. Time to turn the turrets back on. Probably don't need to worry about collecting all this scrap given the amount of iron I've got now, but old habits die hard, I guess. And turret number 2, let's turn you on. I might grab the small Reavers bits and pieces as I drive back. I'm curious as to how much platinum I might be able to end up with. So if I can get enough for an advanced welder, that'd be pretty cool. Plus, it wouldn't hurt the game for me to clean up a few more bits and pieces of mess. I might have a think about how I could redesign the Fort Capac to allow me to have the ability to actually get up and repair and rebuild stuff, leaving some scaffolding in place permanently. Because having to rebuild it every time I want to go and repair it is not optimal. I'd like to be able to get up to the turret, but if it ends up looking ugly because of it, I'm not super keen on the idea, but I do think it'd be worth looking into again, or looking into properly. Might do that when I have a look at how I can redesign the front end of the crane to make it look half decent. Yeah, they're NPC ion thrusters, so anything that's... I can't remember how Lucas does it, but I know that the NPC ion thrusters and NPC hydrogen thrusters have more power. And so, and by what I mean, I don't know how Lucas does it. I know how he changes it, but I don't remember whether there's any impact if I try and use them as a player. But because I know they're more efficient, I'm not going to use them. I'll just try and take advantage of stuff that I capture from my assertive mod instead, since that's still out there, and just play along as though the Reaver stuff is useless to me. Which it might well be, I'm not sure. Alright, that looks like most of it cleaned up. And let's head on back to base, I think. The rest of this stuff is Manny pickup territory. Oh, seriously? Space Engineers is not liking me and the Goofy lately. At least I only lost one wheel this time. Alright, let's have a look at our refineries. I don't see any platinum. 0.12 kilograms. I think I need a fair bit more than that to make a tool. What do I need for the fancy tools? Fancy welder. 0.67. And that's... yeah. I didn't think I was going to end up with enough. But, oh well. Okay. We are at a state that is better than when I started this recording. It's only taken me around 3 hours. Shot down a drone. Well, shot down a Reaver. Not just a little drone, a big proper ship. Ground it down. Got its stuff. I've got my Fort's Capac back up and running. I've got the Goofy fully repaired and functional. I've got the Canary in the same boat. Manny's empty. Everything's good. I've got enough time, I think, that I can quickly go grab some silicon with the Goofy, and then what I'm going to do is scan out the location for this airfield, because I really want to start on that today. I want to lay that out, largely so that I can start building the path down to it in voxel hands before next week. So I have an idea of where the tracks are going to need to go, so I'm not just kind of blindly building stuff. But it'll give me a clearer idea of what's going to happen. I might try and make a couple of small cargo containers for the Goofy That include enough stuff for a piston, enough stuff for some wheels, so that I can repair and replace stuff on the road rather than having to always come back. At least the Goofy's got an antenna now, so I've got that safety device implemented. It's going to be switched off nearly all the time, but if I need it, I can turn it on and not have to run 2.9 kilometers when I'm about to run out of water. Right, I can fit one bottle in a small cargo container. That's not likely to be particularly helpful. Oh yeah, just makes it. Look at that. So we got parts for 2 pistons, parts for 2 wheels. If I lose more than that, I'm in trouble anyway. And we got some food and water and an oxygen bottle just in case. Cool. Goofy is ready for travels. Alright, time for another drone flight so I can take a look at what's around here and get a better idea of where I want to go with things. If I want to build myself some sort of large air facility, I will want it piped up because I'm going to need to build stuff there. So I'm going to need it connected up to this system. So that'll mean another chain of towers like I built to go over to the grinding building. And I think ideally somewhere that looks a bit flattish should be where I go. Somewhere that's not too far away, but also relatively level, because I'm going to need this to be a fairly sizable thing. Alternatively, I guess I could build it out from a cliff, but if I want to do the concept hut style thing, I guess I could do it kind of like the grinding building, because it's a little bit that shape. It's sort of rounded, but I was thinking more rounded than that. But doing that on a large scale, I think would look a bit odd being supported out that far. It's so much easier to do when you got a jetpack. Not having to use a drone to figure these things out. This looks really nice and level. Which is a long way to do with a chain of conveyors. But that looks pretty nice. That's seriously tempting. Would potentially be building where the drop pods are landing, but I have no idea where they land anymore. Because they've changed and I'll be changing the design, so I'll be able to adjust at least. And hopefully when I do the redesign, it'll not hit the ground quite so hard. I kind of like the idea of being down here. I know it's going to take me a fair bit of work to build the conveyor linkage up to the rest of the base. But think of the power generation of all those turbines. I will have to build a lot more of the Fort Capacs to be able to build out this way safely. But I think that could work. I'm going to start on that because I like this idea. Plus, building that far away gives me a little bit of an excuse to use the absconder as my personal transport vehicle as I drive between buildings. So the idea I have in mind is for this place to have a spot for the refueling vehicle that goes up to the launch air base to land, a spot for the Panini to land, because the Panini is going to be collecting fuel from an ice lake somewhere at some point, and a little hangar that's protected for all of the Canaries to be launched from. Let's just go down here and see whether the bit of ground I found, or I looked at, is as level as I thought. Oh, that's not too bad. This is actually probably one of the flattest areas I've got that's nearby. Look at that. That's not bad at all. Alright, so overall layout, what am I thinking? Big Quonset hut, which will be using a gradual curve from, probably need to start with, say, the 2x1 bases, but this way round. So the angle will start at that, then go to 45, then go back to the 2x1s, then go flat. So it'll be angular, but from a distance it'll still get that curve. I had a brief moment of temptation to do it with, say, row hinges and actually make it have a really gradual curve, but I don't think that adds enough to the look of this to make it even remotely worthwhile. This is going slightly uphill, which is not the way I prefer to have my hangar entries. Maybe I'll change this up a little bit. Use this little depression and build just from the middle of it or something. Yeah, that works. Because this does need to be large, but not, like, ridiculous. I'll leave this tree here for now. How many blocks is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. That's going to be plenty large enough. I'll leave that tree there for now, but I may end up getting rid of it. Because it might be right in the way. So then for width, if we start with one of these, and then progress to one of these. It's just thinking, if I do this the same the whole way through, it'll look like a really boring structure when it's done. I'm building this like this because I have no idea how... I didn't believe that I could reliably estimate how wide I needed it to be unless I just placed it out as I went. So under this covering, I'm going to put my hydrogen tanks as well, because this will give them a bit more protection from anything that might shoot. So the hydrogen tanks hopefully won't get blown up. That was kind of my idea behind this too. So it won't just be drone hangar, it'll also be fuel hangar and storage. Oh, that's what I could build behind the base. I could build some large cargo containers in a similar style hut. If this works out and looks cool, I could build my large cargo containers in something like this. And that'd give me a reason to have stuff behind there, but also not have much reason to access it because of the way cargo storage works in Space Engineers. You'd be like, yeah, that's fine. You didn't need to be able to get around there. You've got the conveyors for that. Yeah, look at this. I reckon this is going to look great. Because this is going to be open to the elements. This isn't going to be closed off. I don't want doors to be in the way of me getting the drones out of here quickly. But what I do want is something to protect them from being hit when some stuff drops. I'm thinking a way to add some extra depth to these walls, or this roof, would be to add some glass in at certain parts using the 2x1 sloped glass pieces somewhere. That'll also create some really cool lighting effects when you're inside. Like I was thinking these sloped bits here for certain segments can be glass. And in theory I should be able to double layer the glass, so there'll be glass on the upper layer and lower layer, making it hopefully quite resistant to damage. What might be a good idea here is getting some more oxygen. But what I was about to say was building the other end, so I've got the two arches to get a much clearer idea of the scale of this. One really nice thing about these style of buildings is that you can walk across the whole thing. I don't need to have lifts to get up there. I'll need to get the liftsy to actually weld this thing up, because I'll need to get underneath the curve, but to get onto the outside, to repair stuff, to do anything like that, doesn't require anything special, doesn't require stairs, doesn't require anything, which is great. In fact, if I was thinking about this from the very start, this is probably the style of build I should have gone for all along. Made all of my buildings have an arched, curved sort of roof so that I could walk up them just as easily as that.
Energy low.
So what I'm thinking will possibly work for this is the drones will probably be all lined up along one side, and then hopefully I'll have room for, even if it's small hydrogen tanks lined up along the side, which is probably what it'll be, that should kind of work reasonably well. To do a cargo storage hangar, I think I'm going to have to do something a lot larger. Maybe do 3 or 4 blocks to each aspect of the curve, although that's going to be huge. I'll have to think about that. Once I've got this down... Well, actually, if you look, from where this 45... Oh, it's probably easier at this distance. Yeah, let's turn that way. There we go. From where that 45-degree slope is, you've got 3 blocks down, then 3 blocks across, then a gap, then 3 blocks across, and 3 blocks up. So you could put a 3x3x3 large grid block in there and still have path to go down the middle. So I could build something like this with large cargo containers on either side of a central corridor, and then have stuff scattered along the outside as like work kit sort of things, or just do it on one side and then have plenty of space for some open stuff on the other side. So it should still work. This scale is right. I don't know that having large hydrogen tanks is going to work with this and trying to get the drones out the front door without smacking into stuff, though. Unless I design this to have just the one exit. So I say put the 2 tanks down the back here and then have it so that I can walk out this way. That could work adequately, I think. I'll have to think about that for when I start laying out the rest of this. Because if I've only got one exit, I need to make sure I don't block it. But that should work as a scale with a tank. Just imagine a hydrogen tank right in front of me, and then a lifter vehicle attached to it, ready to launch. We'll have conveyor line going to the hangar and going all the way up to the base. Have an extra... have the Panini landed on the ground here somewhere with its tanks attached to it. This will be really cool. And we're, what, 500 meters from base. I think what I'm going to do with this build is something that I haven't done with some of the other builds. Ooh, that flickering is bad. Oh, I know why that flickering is bad. There we go. Turn that off. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Build the conveyor line first. The conveyor line first is going to be a much, much smarter way of going about things so that I've got access to all the materials that are back at base immediately. It also means that I shouldn't run out of food, water, oxygen, any of those things while I'm building, which is great. I won't have to keep loading up Manny with various bits and pieces. So that means next week that is one of the things on the cards. But, of course, it's week 52, so that means we're going to have, hopefully, an epic compilation. We are going to have a compilation, but hopefully it's epic, of all of the time lapses so far for 1 year on Omicron. I also hope that I'll be able to do something else special during that episode, but we'll just have to wait and see. So there's all that, and plenty more to come. And I will see you then.